Welcome to Fish Delta TV, your video source for fishdelta.com. Are you looking for a reliable boat repair center? Look no further. Boatmasters in Livermore has been servicing boats and boat trailers for over 20 years. Conveniently located off of Highway 580 in Livermore, their 10,000 square foot facility has everything you could possibly need, including boat storage, a full boating supply store, a complete tackle shop. This combined with their superior customer service is why Boatmasters in Livermore is the #1 choice for your boating and fishing needs. Visit their online store at boatmasters.com or give them a call at 925-443-5775. Hello, welcome to Fish Delta TV. We're here at Boatmasters in Livermore. Now they're the #1 Mercury outdrive service center in the western United States. And I've asked Mike Schmidt, one of the owners from Boatmasters, to break down and show us, Mike, what do I need to be doing here on my outdrive and my prop to make sure that I'm not causing any damage to my impeller, my outdrive? I mean, I'm kind of clueless about this stuff. What should I be checking? What should I be doing? And would you mind breaking that down and showing us?
Yes, I would be happy to. The first thing I would do on any prop shaft is I would spin the propeller to make sure that the shaft is not bent, and also grab the propeller to make sure the end play is correct on it. Now, when you are spinning the prop, you look for the shaft to have any movement in it. Don't be misled by the diffuser ring that a lot of times on a cast propeller will be a little bit out of round. And when you are pulling it back and forth, you will feel a little bit of movement on this particular engine gear case because this is a 250 ProXs and it has the older style Torquemaster style gear case with the 19 spline big shaft, which is perfectly common to happen on these.
Now, Mike, come down here and join me down here. You pulled my prop right here, and it's got play in it. Is that okay?
Yes, that is normal with this gear case.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And you do feel quite a bit of movement.
Yes, I do.
You'll get that much.
Okay. And the diffuser ring you're talking about is this outer surface of the prop itself. So I need to be checking the center shaft.
Yes. Look straight at the mill cut in the end of the shaft.
Okay. And when I spin that, if that center shaft is doing the wobble thing, bad shaft, bad prop, I need to take it to you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And is that fixable?
The shaft cannot be straightened, but it can be replaced.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good info. Now, we're going to break down and show people how to take this shaft off or take the prop off.
The propeller off, yes.
And look for what?
You're going to look for fish line.
Okay.
Make sure the prop is able to be removed. On saltwater applications, sometimes it does get stuck because the salt builds up inside there, and you want to clean that shaft and clean it and re-grease it to get any of that salt buildup out of there.
Okay, and you've brought some tools here, so
yes.
Why don't we pull those out and why don't you show me what tools I would need to do this project myself?
Okay, first one I like to use to stabilize the prop, to make it easy to do it, is just a carpeted block of wood or a block of wood with a rag wrapped around it.
Okay, and that's to stop any damage. You don't want to use metal, and
yes.
the carpet is just so I don't ruin my shaft, my prop.
Yep, or nick up the paint on your nice gear case.
Okay.
So just kind of put that in there, hold it, and then a 1/2-inch breaker bar with an 1 1/16 socket, 1/2-inch drive, of course, to match the breaker bar. Put it in there, lock it, and then be prepared. They are torqued to 55 foot-pounds, and sometimes people torque them more, so you want to make sure it is good and tight. And you're going to, of course, have to push into it hard to loosen it, which that felt good there on Nathan's. And then just spin it off.
Now, while you're doing that, your socket, what did you say it was?
Breaker bar.
1 1/16
Yes.
socket. Is that specific to the 250? Are they different sizes with the different Mercury outdrives?
No, that is on all outboards. That is pretty standard on like 75 and up.
Nice. Okay.
Yes. So they did get standard on that a little bit.
So that's a tool I need to keep on my boat in case I have problems at a lake.
Yeah, and Mercury does make a floating one for that, where they're made out of plastic for changing on the water.
And you guys carry those too, right?
And yes, we do.
Okay.
Now, you cannot get too much torque on those, of course, but it is good for an emergency.
Perfect. And what do you got going now?
I just took the nut off and set it on there. Now on Nathan's boat here, this is specific again to the 19 spline big shaft. They do have the washers inside there.
Okay. Is there any other parts that I need to worry about falling off the shaft or anything I need to worry about loose in here that's going to come off, or is that it? Just those washers?
Those are the biggest ones right there that fall on you.
Okay.
So, and that's why I was particular in catching those.
All right.
And of course, they do go on in a certain order, which we will go on when we reinstall it.
Perfect.
And then this is the hub kit, which again is specific to this particular. This is a solid racing heavy-duty hub kit right here, and they're about $100 and some if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And they do link up this propeller to that shaft very strong.
Okay.
So, and everything looks good inside here as far as nothing, no debris, no salt, no nothing.
Okay.
And
what should I be looking for now? Now you've pulled that off, you pulled it off the spline, I got grease all over there.
Yep.
And if there was fishing line, where does it tend to bind up? I assume it got in through the little gap between the prop and the housing.
Yes.
And does it get caught up and wound up all in this little surface here?
Yep, it gets caught up right behind this. So when we were taking that off, it would be right in behind here.
Okay.
And it gets underneath that seal, which in turn causes the seal to get torn up, allowing the gear oil to go out and the water to go in, which in turn destroys the gear case. Okay,
so the fishing line will damage that seal. That's what I'm checking for.
Yep.
Now, I assume that's the most common thing you see, especially on a bass boat, but that getting in there. If we found fishing line there, what would be your next step? What do I need to do?
You got to remove it. And you can usually remove it with a screwdriver, just kind of work it out of that seal and inspect the seal and make sure it has not damaged it. Now, it's tough to know if you got it all. So you got to, I guess, kind of unwind it out of there and in turn remove it out of there the best you can and make sure the rubber's not damaged.
And if that seal was damaged, that puts water in my gear oil
and destroys gears and
once
bearings.
Water gets in there, I've got all kinds of problems. So if I had fishing line in there and I was concerned that I have water in there, there is a way to check your fluids to see if there's water in there, and we're going to do that in another video, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. And he promised me he would show me how to check water in that lower end, so we'll cover that in another video, but let's keep going down this road.
Okay. So basically what we do at that point, you clean all the old grease off with just a rag, of course.
And is that because it's bad, or we just want to get fresh grease on there?
We want to get fresh grease on there to do its best to be able to lubricate it and cause it not to stick. And we also are able to inspect the splines, make sure they're not twisted, damaged, or anything along those lines at the same time. Now, the
twisted and damaged splines, that is the teeth that I'm looking at here that line up with the hub.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay, and I'm looking okay so far?
You are looking good.
All right, good.
And all of these things get damaged usually from hitting an underwater object.
Okay, so I've never done
that. So when a propeller is damaged, that's a great tale to basically check for that bent shaft and or twisted spline.
Okay, you're all done cleaning the grease off there. Now what do I need to do?
Now you get some good fresh grease.
Now what grease should I be using? Now that's a Mercury grade, is that?
Yes, it is. It's Mercury 24C, and it does have Teflon in it, which is great for greasing splines. There is other particular ones that Mercury recommends, again, for saltwater corrosion applications. This stuff works fine for a lot of different points on this engine.
Okay. And this is all available at your supply shop here at Boatmasters, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Just squeeze a little bit on there.
A little bit?
Yep, just a little bit. And then smear it around. Try to get in all the splines on it.
Okay.
And try to get it up on the threads, because that'll help keep that nut from sticking in the salt water again or any corrosion.
Okay.
Grab the hub kit, slide it back on by lining up the splines.
And that hub, you just slid it on, does it have a stop? You push it down until it stops?
This particular one slides and has a stop built in at the end of it that controls the depth.
Okay.
So other ones have thrust hubs, which we will go over at a later date. Then again, you got your square, going over the square, slides in place. Now the play, you want about that much distance always, which tells you it's good, where the propeller is not rubbing against the case.
Okay. And then, so that gap is what I want to see.
Yes, it is. You never want it hitting the case to where it can dig into the aluminum.
Understood.
Now this particular washer can go on in either direction, slides on over it. And then you have these two other washers. Now, they're a hair different in thickness, and one has a little bit of a bevel to it, and the other one is flat.
Okay, if you don't mind. Now, pull that washer out of there. We have these three washers. Now, this is the largest one, and it goes on first,
yes,
and
it does.
Doesn't matter which direction.
Does not matter which direction.
Second, we got two smaller washers, and you say one of them is beveled and one of them is not?
Yes.
Okay.
Which just works as a secondary locking device.
Okay.
These are kind of set up to where the bevel's kind of worn out on this one, so.
Do I need to change that?
Not necessarily. You have a locking nut,
Okay.
a lock nut in here too. You can
Okay.
get a couple more uses out of them.
So the next washer that goes on there is the beveled one?
Yep, the beveled one goes next.
And then the straight flat
Then
washer.
the straight flat one.
Perfect.
Yep.
Then my nut. Now, we talked about being at a lake with a utility tool and used a breaker bar to take that off, but I assume there is a specific torque specification for this nut.
Yes, there is.
And you're going to use a torque wrench.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I'm going to get it wound down first to the to the tight point, and then we will do that.
Okay. And you're just doing this just until it gets snug.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will use the block of wood again.
Okay. Leave your socket on there. Put your block of wood up in there.
Yep.
Get your torque wrench, and your torque wrench is set to what?
55 foot-pounds.
55 foot-pounds.
Yep. Hold it against the block.
And it pops.
And there you go.
And we are good to go.
And give it a good spin. Make sure no rubbing. You are set.
Perfect. Mike, holy cow. That was easy. Thank you so much for your time. Now, thank you for joining us on Fish Delta TV. Remember, Boatmasters is available anytime you need them. You can give them a call at, what's the phone number?
925-443-5775.
Okay, and they can schedule appointments Monday through Friday?
Monday through Saturday, actually.
Monday through Saturday?
Yes.
From when to when?
7 in the morning till 6 at night, Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5 on Saturdays.
All right, guys, so if you want more of this professional service, Boatmasters in Livermore is your source for that. Now, next time on Fish Delta, we're going to go through and we're going to talk about how to check for that water in that lower end when you do get fishing line wrapped in your prop and you do damage that seal. Does that sound okay, Mike?
That'll work out
Hey,
great.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan.